We're here with Ron Horn. This man is infamous. You probably haven't heard of him, but this man controlled Yoda in Star Wars. Ron, first of all, thank you very much for speaking to us today. Tell me a little bit, how did you get into this job?
My hobby was electronics, and I saw Jerry Anderson one day. He was advertising for electronic engineer, and I always used to do woodwork, pattern making. But I thought I'll have a change, and I was interviewed by a guy called Don Fagan, and he said, "Yeah, you know enough about what we want," and that's how I started, and we moved from there. And then the film industry sort of collapsed for a few years. 1977, it collapsed. So we was out of work, so I went back to pattern making. And then I met a friend, Brian Morrison, and he was doing the car for the Bond film, the 007 Spy Who Loves Me. And we worked on that and went to the Bahamas, and
Very nice.
and the work carried on from there. You know, one film led to another. So after that, I went. You know, I stayed virtually in the film industry.
So tell me about your most famous creation, Yoda.
Well, Yoda came about through the guy who was making the skins had seen E.T. And he knew that he'd used model aeroplane equipment inside it. So he approached us, and yes, we said we could do it, and that's how it came about, you know. So we never made the skins. We only made the mechanism inside, and got it all working. But and the real reason was they were going to puppeteer all of it, but there was times when they couldn't puppeteer it. It had to be done remote.
Yeah.
So that's how it came about. Yeah.
So how do you think of CGI? How did that impact on your life?
Well, CGI, you're never going to get rid of it. It's going to go more and more now. I mean, special effects is evolving into helping CGI.
Yeah.
You're making the elements for them. I mean, basically, that's the way it's going to go, you know, and there's no way of stopping it.
Yeah.
A lot of the jobs you used to do, CGI can do it better.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were on a Robin Hood film or something like that, you'd be rather silly to make retractable swords and things like that when you can do it so much easier with CGI.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, a lot of old type things are still very, good in this day and age.
The latest Star Wars film seems to be going back to basics a bit more. And
Until I see one of the latest ones, I'll know, you know. I very much doubt it, actually, because I think when they get a budget, there's so many people relying on the CG houses for their work that the work will go to them.
What's your biggest recollection of Yoda? What's the thing that you're gonna?
Sorry?
What's your biggest recollection of Yoda? What do you remember most about him?
Well, I remember one thing. We always had two.
Yeah.
And they both worked off the same transmitter. And one day, I left them on the bench purposely because I knew it would happen. Kirsch, the director, had seen me operating them. So he came and picked the transmitter up, and the two of them would work together. So it looked like they were dancing, you know.
Yeah.
And because I said, "Leave it, go on, get on with your own job," and it all went round the film industry. I told the director to go and play with his own things. You know. But we were quite mates, you know, and it was a laugh.
Who was the nicest person working on the films?
Nice.
Who did you like the best?
What? Who? Actors or what?
Actors.
I think my favourite actor was a woman, was Gabriella Drake, right back in 1968 on UFO.
Yeah.
She was a lovely lady. Yeah. I mean, you meet lots of people, you know. I think she was always my favourite. Yeah.
Have you ever been starstruck meeting some of these actors?
Not really. No.
They're just normal people at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Super.
I mean, special effects. You do a job. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. You don't know whether it's going to be, you know, when we worked on Star Wars, it was just a film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I interviewed Dave Prowse, and he said that, and when I asked him what his biggest recollection about the film series was, he said the paycheck, which I quite liked.
Well, of course, yeah, that's what it's all about.
I think that's all he could remember.
I mean, if you had money, you go and live in the Bahamas, wouldn't you?
Yes,
and watch
you would.
films. You wouldn't make them.
Yes, exactly.
But there again, a friend of ours who I've worked for many, many years, on and off, was Rafaela Durantes. She had no need to work, but she loved it. She loved making films, and we worked with her on lots of films. And she was one of the nicest producers you can come across.
What's your favourite film you've ever worked on?
Difficult to say because they're all different different types, you know. I mean, Alien was very good to work on, you know.
And what did you do on that one?
Well, I was in charge of the model shop at one stage, making Nostromo and things like that. You know. Yeah, every film's different.
Yeah.
I mean, last film it really, what shall I say? I felt for the people that we were making a story about was Enemy at the Gate.
Yeah.
And when you're on that film like that, you get involved with it and you're in the story, and you think, my God, people went through this, you know.
It's a monstrous film. It's vast. I mean, in its
Yeah.
panoramic scenes.
And one of the first films I worked on was A Deer Hunter. Same thing. Yeah. I mean, when you work on a film like that, you almost drift into, is it real?
Yeah.
And when you're doing big bullet hits and explosions and things like that, your mind sometimes sort of think, is this real or are we actually filming? You know. Yeah.
So are you still working now? Or
I still do.
What are you working on at the moment?
Nothing really serious. Last serious picture I worked on was Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's just out now, isn't it? It's just been released.
I think it's coming out soon. Yeah. I don't know if it's coming out yet. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But on that, we were doing most of the time. We were making what we call elements for the film industry for CGI. You know.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you very much for speaking to us today.
Yeah.
Ron, really appreciate it. Lovely talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you.